today Mr. Trip Cran from Boston, Massachusetts. Trip is an expert on competitive intelligence and network analysis. He will present himself furthermore in a few minutes. Before I give the floor to Trip, I would like to remind you that you can use the chat box to write questions and comments, and it is up to Trip whether to answer during the presentation or at the end. So, Trip, the floor is yours. I hope you all enjoyed this session.
Well, thank you, Amir. This presentation is titled, "You Are Doing It Wrong, Competitive Intelligence in the Era of Network Competition." A little bit about me. I'm a founder of a data intelligence startup that's currently in stealth mode. I consider myself an expert on CI, and I have experience in shipping and technology sector. I'm a graduate of Boston University, and I live in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'm going to make three main points today. The first is that we are in an era of network competition. To compete in a network era, we need a network competitive intelligence process. And we must incorporate network analysis into competitive intelligence practices. We're going to start with the definition of a network, and it's a broad and general concept that describes how things are connected to each other. We are in an era of, we'll start with this section, and we will have time for questions after each section. There are three sections. We are in an era of network competition. In the age of the network economy, we face global competition, predominance of information and communication technology, the importance of knowledge to each firms drives firms to focus on their core competencies, and they're driven to weave increasingly complex business webs. Networks are no longer just for suppliers. Oops. There are many different types of networks: supply and distribution, brand, product development and innovation coalitions, developer networks with application programming interfaces, network business models and platforms, and the term ecosystem is thrown around. Network business models and platforms, we of course can think of giants like Amazon and Uber, Facebook, Twitter, Apple. These are all examples of platform businesses that have come to dominate and take central hubs in our economy. At this point, I'll open it up to any questions on the general concept of networks in the economy or network competition. Amir, is there any questions?
Not yet.
No, that's fine.
I think you can continue.
Okay. To compete in the network era, we need a network competitive intelligence process. That process is known as the target-centric approach to intelligence analysis. It's an alternative to the traditional intelligence cycle, and it makes all stakeholders, including intelligence customers, part of the intelligence process. It's target-centric, so it's an objective-oriented view of the intelligence process, the goal of which is to create a shared picture of a target of our interest, from which all participants can extract elements they need to do their jobs and contribute their resources and knowledge to create a more accurate picture. It is not a linear process, nor is it a cycle, though it contains many feedback loops. It is a network process, a social process, with all participants focused on on the objective. And it looks something like this. We have everybody pools their knowledge initially on the intelligence target, which is the subject of our intelligence problem. We notice our gaps in our knowledge by creating this model, and that drives requirements for our information collection, who collect information that is then added to the target model, which from there we can derive answers and analysis and actual intelligence is fed to the customer, and the cycle iterates, continues. Any questions on that?
Not yet, Rip.
I think I might have trimmed too much. We're going pretty fast. The third point, we must incorporate network analysis into competitive intelligence practices. And one of the most powerful tools in the analyst toolkit is network modeling. Take a drink. The practice of network analysis has several metrics. The first of which is the term degree, and that's the number of connections. Pointer? I have my pointer here. The number of connections that a node, it's called a node, which is a dot essentially. Number of connections that it has is called degree. Brokerage, here we see different clusters of nodes. Brokerage is connecting of those clusters. Closure is building trust within a cluster. And closeness is how easily a node can make connections. So this node here can very easily connect to others because of its statistical closeness. Betweenness is the critical link between other nodes. So here are two clusters of nodes and this one in between. It's a boundary spanner between the nodes. Some network analysis tools that are freely available, well, they're not, most of them are free. Kumu is a SaaS platform that has a freemium that you can play around with. The rest are free and run on your computer. NodeXL is an Excel plugin. Can actually go ahead and show give you an example of Kumu right now. Are we seeing this?
Yes.
Okay. This is Kumu. This is a map of integrations for the cybersecurity product Recorded Future. We can
you put it on full screen?
Let me see here. Well, we can zoom in, zoom out, pull up each individual node, and focus. Here's an example of, well, 1 degree. So this is just the firm's immediate integrations to its product. We can easily do the integrations to the integrations 2 degrees. It pops out like that. And we can easily see players who not only are integrations, but are also competitors of Recorded Future, because they share integrations with a second company. We'll go back to the slide deck. There are, in network analysis, there are key network metrics that you can do, which give statistics into the nature of the network. The first is degree of links, which is the number of links a firm has at a given point in time. The average degree of partners, which is the average number of links that firms' partners have at any given time. These links act as channels of communication and resource access, right? So if we have partners, they have partners themselves, and it's the average number of those partners, if that makes any sense. The third metric is path length, which is the number of steps to reach a specific firm in the network. A short path length implies faster communication or easier and more efficient access to resources. The fourth is clustering coefficient, which captures the degree to which a firm's partners are also partners with each other, right? So that brings a network perspective to strategic analysis and triggers more focused assessments of strategic options for alliances and partnerships. So if we'll just move on to network density, as I'm sure this is all quite confusing. Network density describes the ratio of links that exist in the network to the number of potential links that could be, if all possible pairs of nodes were directly connected. It's used to measure group cohesion and compared over time across other sectors. We can use network density to compare it across other sectors to identify similarities and differences in network topology structures. That's a lot of words right there, and it just goes to say you can use the network density metric to study other industries or targets that are similar in density and network statistics to see if there's similar results or effects or evolution of the network. First, what we need to do is start. We need to not only evaluate our competitors and the competitive environment, but we also need to evaluate our own alliances. Okay, so there are 3 degrees of alliance network advantage. The first degree and the first level that we're going to look at is how to combine resources and capabilities of our firm with the resources and capabilities of each individual alliance partner. So that's basically just finding synergies with our partners. The second level, how can we get timely access to information, secure cooperation, and gain power by using the connections amongst our firm's alliance partners? So how do we benefit from the partnerships of our partners? That's using our network to the second degree. The third degree is how can we obtain information, cooperation, and power from being positively evaluated by others as a result of our firm's central position in an industry's alliance network. That's how can we affect our status by aligning or partnering with firms of a greater status. And I'll give you a good example of somebody I was speaking with yesterday runs a small recruiting shop, but in turn works with a large consultancy in the turnaround industry. And as a result of their alliance with this big prestigious firm, they're able to gain credibility and status essentially because of this, because of their third degree alliance network advantage. That concludes what I have. I had many more slides, and I thought I would run too long. I trimmed it down and to about 14 or 15, and I probably made a mistake in that I should have kept the 25 slides. But we're done with the presentation, and at this point, I'll open it up to some questions.
Well, thank you, Trip. It was a fascinating presentation. I have a question, maybe two.
Okay.
First, what kind of data is best to analyze in this method?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, actually, believe it or not, it's right from the website. Companies will frequently list their technology partners, their alliances, frequently their channels. You can run a web crawler if you want, or you could just copy and paste it, if you will. So it's all open source. And if you can't get it from that, try press releases.
So you have to do a preliminary work before you start analyzing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how can we reflect our ecosystem on the network? You answered it, but maybe there's another answer.
Well, ecosystems are networks, essentially. Ecosystem is a buzzword that's thrown around for a lot of different reasons, and really depends on the context of what the person. It depends on the context. So we talk about our innovation ecosystem. That's a pharma company might be working with a half dozen universities, several small biotech, some pharmaceutical research companies. So that would be their innovation ecosystem. You can talk about the startup ecosystem. That's the combination of startups and venture capitalist firms. And all that can easily be mapped as a network.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any written questions yet. Maybe people would like to ask, but just let me say that network analysis is an essential factor in understanding trends and identify power centers in the ecosystem. You showed this in your presentation. And maybe people would like to ask questions. You can open your mics and ask. There's a question, can you list again the list of tools like Como?
Sure.
And is it a freeware?
Kumu has a freemium, so it's a SaaS tool. If you do the free option, all your graphs are public. If you subscribe, it's like $9 a graph for private. So it's very it's inexpensive. It's very easy to use. I'll just go back in. Oops. If we wanted to, let's just say we wanted to make a company add another node. We just go to add connection, give it a name, call it Trip Corp. Here's Trip Corp. There we are. Trip Corp, we can add all sorts of details. It's in the United States. It's a website. Trip.com. We can add a description. This company is awesome. Underfunded. We can tag it. So let's give it a category that it's in. We'll say data-centric security. There we are. So that's Kumu.
Okay. We have another question from Roy. How does the network help you in practice to improve your cooperation? Can you provide an example?
Well, so if we think about the network concept, we have our collectors of information, our analysts, and our consumers. And normally it's a chain, and it's throwing something over the fence, right? That's the expression. You throw your collection over the fence to the analyst, and you don't care if you're an intelligence collector. This network process, it incorporates all of the stakeholders in the intelligence process to pull their information on a target. So your customer may actually know something about your intelligence target that you don't, okay? So initially you get that. You co-develop the model with them. You co-create the analysis with your customer. So that's how a network process improves competitive intelligence process.
Thank you. Any questions? I see a question from Shmulik. How you link the data for the tools?
Oh yeah.
How you feed the data? What's your database?
Right. So I'll show you. In Kumu, you can pull up table. So you can do it. You can make it in a spreadsheet and upload it, or you can do it within the tool. And essentially, it's just a spreadsheet. The first is just the elements and then the connections, right? So it's just a simple CSV file that can be accessed, if that answers the question.
Do you know of open source databases that you can practice on, or real test cases?
Oh, data sets?
Yes, data sets.
I think there are a few available. I can share some of mine. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be happy to share if they want to connect.
Okay, any more questions from the audience? Okay, Trip. It was short, but very
Short
interesting.
but sweet. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure everyone learned something new today. I know I have. I just want to thank you and thank everyone, and just have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trip.
Thank you.